If you have ever wondered how to magnetize attractive lovers with staying power, then you are going to want to watch this video. In the dating world, unfortunately, it's quite common to feel disheartened. Fortunately, with a few simple shifts in perception and understanding the secrets of how attraction works on an energetic level, you can learn how to quickly magnetize lovers with staying power. Today, we are going to explore 3 simple steps to help you go from confused to confident while navigating the dating scene. By the end of this video, you will feel relief in knowing how to reframe negative self-stories about your market value, empowered in your ability to create real changes in your life and relationships with the resources you already have, and excited and ready to attract high-quality partners using the correct energetic vibe. Now, before we get started, if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Briana MacWilliam, and I am a licensed and board-certified creative arts therapist with more than 15 years in the field, helping adults struggling with insecure attachment go from self-doubting to self-sovereign so they can attract the soul-shaking, passionate partnerships that they want. And I do this using a psycho-spiritual approach to creative arts interventions, which I call the MacWilliam method. The content on my YouTube channel is derived from my online courses, which you can learn more about through the link in the caption of this video. If you would like to learn more about your attachment style, you can take the 4-question quiz. If you like what you see and hear and you want to learn more, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. I put out videos once a week, and I wouldn't want you to miss out. Okay, so let's dive into our 3 steps to quickly magnetize lovers with staying power. Now, to walk you through these steps, I am going to share Michael's story with you. Michael is a cisgender heterosexual man who is in a long-term committed relationship with Janie, who tends towards avoidant tendencies. Michael had historically been more on the anxious end of the spectrum and frequently fell into people-pleasing mode to avoid conflicts and affirm their connection. In learning about attachment styles, however, Michael started to realize he was compromising himself too much, and that was leading to simmering feelings of resentment, passive aggression, and overall dissatisfaction in their relationship. As Michael started to learn more about himself and delve into personal development, he began to have less patience with Janie and no longer agreed to do the same things that he used to. This caused some friction in the relationship, and Janie would express anger over these new changes. Michael's growing desire for intimacy and a more authentic sense of connection also began to scare him because he knew he was outgrowing Janie. Fear of severing the attachment relationship led to suppressing his needs in order to give Janie time to catch up. However, after a year, Michael was losing patience and the cracks in the relationship were beginning to more than show. When Michael came to me, he expressed the following. I've learned a lot and come to realize that my partner does not match up with the essence of my desire in a relationship. She refuses to meet me halfway, and I have given her ample time, 1 year in fact, to learn new communication skills and demonstrate that she holds my needs in equal priority and esteem. She hasn't done it. So now I am back to suppressing my needs to make things go smoothly. I feel like I have to ease her into the new me, but deep down I feel trapped. I feel like her resistance is preventing my growth. Now, first, I want to acknowledge that I know Michael is not alone in this question, and it is a difficult one to tackle. So I'm going to offer the following 3 steps gently for reflection and consideration. Now, the first step is to reframe the story. So let's assume that Michael is suffering from this self-identified incongruency between how he feels on the inside and the way that he interacts with Janie, because there's an underlying attachment story tied to unconscious survival fears in operation. So at present, Michael's version of things is that he's afraid of leaving Janie behind and is generously giving her time to catch up to him. Now, Janie receives this as a bit condescending and controlling. This stimulates a defensive attitude in Janie, which likely serves to cover up her deeper fears that Michael has actually outgrown her and maybe one day will leave her. Now, let's be honest. That's a real possibility because he has stated that the essence of his desire is not being met in this relationship. Yet, even after a year, he's not quite ready to take action on it. And why not? Well, looking at this through the lens of attachment, it's possible that some unconscious activating strategies and attachment stories are going on, which might look like and sound like They are reasonable excuses on the surface, but in effect serve to keep Michael in a relationship that is making him unhappy, because any challenge to the status quo or demanding more than Janie might be able to give would be to potentially shine a light on an irreconcilable incompatibility in the relationship. And once that incompatibility is openly acknowledged, it will definitely lead to some kind of definitive action. Now, in other words, Michael may be unconsciously afraid to assert himself because he thinks it would mean the end of the relationship. Now, this is a fear that is quite common for individuals with insecure attachment, particularly anxious attachment. And in Michael's case, he reports leaning towards anxious thoughts and feelings. So there is likely to be an unconscious story that sounds like, if I give Janie enough time, then she'll be inspired to give me more permission to be myself and accept my needs in equal priority. If I suppress my needs long enough, then there will be just the right moment, someday, somehow, where I can finally open up and be myself. Just a little bit longer, because I don't want to be on my own. Opportunities for love are so scarce in the world, especially at my age. And how do I know if I could find anything better? I've already invested so much time, energy, and effort into this relationship. There's got to be a moment where I can cash in on it. I've earned it by now. Just gotta hang in. Now, this kind of thinking is likely to keep him trapped in a cycle of need suppression, waiting for Janie to set the tone of the relationship, begging after her permission to just be himself. Now, it's likely that a forced change will occur if his desire grows and he continues to ignore it. So let's reframe the story for Michael so that he can start to wrap his head around what steps 2 and 3 are going to require of him. So here is the reframe. The only thing that I can ever fully inhabit is the present moment. And I know now, based on my past experience, that what I want in the future is someone who creates space for me to be myself and takes my needs into equal consideration. I don't have to wait to be myself. Not 1 minute, not 1 day, not 1 year. I have waited decades already. I can choose to be who I am right now, and once I decide that my advocacy belongs to the essence of my being, I need not be afraid of being alone, because I am never alone. I am always connected to source energy and to all that is. This is love in its purest form, which means that it is available to me in abundance. I can also summon these feelings through a focus upon and a wielding of my own creative life force energy, which flows with increasing ease as I give myself more and more permission to be who I am and need what I need without waiting for my partner to say it's okay or to approve of it. It doesn't matter how much time, energy, or effort I put into this relationship. If I don't get to be myself within it, then what is the point? I can't get out of a hole by digging it deeper. One more second invested in this is a second stolen from the life I get to live as the protagonist of my own story. And I am the only one who can write that story. Now, the irony is if Michael can manage to adopt this reframe, he actually creates the possibility for Janie to move towards him, because he's giving her an opportunity to get to know and respect who he really is. So let's look at step 2. Realize your relationship with a partner is a mirror for your own inner relationship between you and you. Now, the best way to attract emotionally available partners is to get into dialogue with your own emotions and make loving contact with your self parts. Once you have an adequate inventory, you can be more discerning about where, when, how, and with whom you will make an emotional investment, and how much of what is in activation between you is truly aligned with your parts or aligned with theirs. So you start doing this by recognizing the energetic point of attraction that is in operation between you and your partner. For example, according to Michael's report, Janie is basically expressing, "Stop trying to make me change and do these newfangled things you're learning, because I like the way things were, and I'm going to do everything in my power to keep them the way they were. The more you fight me, the more miserable I am going to be." And so Michael has his response to this, which simply put sounds like, "Stop fighting me on these newfangled things, because I like them and I don't want to change back, and I'm going to do everything in my power to keep it this way now. The more you fight me, the more miserable I will be." So now when we put it that way, their thoughts and feelings don't actually sound so different, do they? Which means that while I'm sure there are many wonderful new and different things that Michael has recently become aware of, there is still a similar string that is being plucked in the energetic exchange between them in the relationship. And this is not on the intellectual level. So yes, the packaging may have become increasingly sophisticated for Michael, but he is still handing responsibility and permission for his feelings and expressing his needs honestly over to Janie. He is looking to her to set the tone of the relationship and secretly resenting and lamenting that she is not complying with what he wants. And Janie wants things to stay the same while not so secretly resenting and lamenting that he wants things to change. So if Michael's waiting around for Janie to happily initiate and hop onto this bandwagon, he is going to be waiting a long time. In fact, he's already waited a long time. Now, where the scale seems to tip is when he makes a very clear statement of knowledge and desire. I've learned a lot and come to realize that my partner does not match up with the essence of my desire in relationship. But then he surrenders it to Janie's willfulness and an attachment to the idea that he has to ease her into valuing his needs and priorities. Now, rhetorically speaking, I think it's important for Michael to consider the question, why does Janie get to be eased into caring about his needs? Why doesn't he expect or rather demand to receive the same care and loving consideration from her that he gives to her? Why should he have to wait one more second to be considered of equal priority in the relationship? Why should it feel unsafe for him to be himself with an intimate partner? Now let's postulate that perhaps in an avoidance of attachment fears of being rejected or abandoned, Michael's ego entertains what it considers to be a justifiable self-abandonment through need suppression to gratify Janie. For example, it's as if one part of him says, hey, I want to express my needs and desires, and I'm tired of waiting and feeling scared about it. And another part says, no, we can't do that. It's too dangerous, or it will upset the other person. Just keep quiet. And those abandonments keep Michael apart from himself and apart from others. Because in suppressing his needs, he is not granting anyone, let alone Janie, permission to access him or to express himself. And because your relationship with a partner is a mirror for your inner relationship between you and you, in the external world, Janie mirrors this habit by not giving him permission to express himself either. Many insecure individuals struggle to understand this, however, because they fall subject to the idea that there is some kind of external objective truth about their value that they have to live up to, and their partner is somehow the keeper of that truth. But we are all the advocates of our own value. We don't treat others the way that we would like to be treated. We tend to treat others the way that they treat themselves. For example, if instead of suppressing his needs to please Janie, he decided he was going to just be himself and let the cards fall where they may, his energy would light up in a completely different way. And this would actually give Janie a chance to move towards him in an entirely new and healthier way as well. Which means Michael would finally know if they were truly a compatible match on the level of intimacy he deeply desires or not. And, if not, then Janie might remove herself from his path, because the lesson she was there to teach him has been learned, and it may be time for a new kind of lesson and assignment for spiritual expansion for Michael moving forward. And so how you treat yourself is a model for how others should treat you. And this leads us to the next step. The third step is to realize the energy that attracts love into your romantic relationships is qualitatively different from the energy that attracts success in other aspects of your life. So Michael has been doing a lot of research and work in self-help and personal development. He's become really skilled at understanding ideas and cultivating insights. Like a good problem solver, he has been practicing putting the correct puzzle pieces together where they belong and experienced some progress, such as improved communication with Janie. But still, a wide gap remains between them in the emotional life of the relationship, which leads him to feel consistently frustrated with her and dissatisfied with the quality of their connection. So he starts working harder, researching more, buying online courses and binge-watching YouTube videos, trying to find the answer that will fix the problem. Now, this kind of solution-focused energy works really well in business and in other practical matters of the material world, but it does not work so well in love. Because when you try to solve the problem, like an A to B equation, you set up and add energetic momentum to the gap between where you are and where you think you want to be. And so you fall prey to the illusion that people, places, and things outside of yourself have more control over your emotions than you do. And others are likely to take offense that you think that they need to be improved upon. When we slip into this habit, you pluck a string of lack or of not having in your energetic vibration, rather than the string of the feeling that you want to feel. So anything that you want because you think you will feel better in the having of it. So you have to ask yourself, why are you wanting what you're wanting? And what are the feelings that having that thing will stimulate for you? Are they feelings of relief that would stopgap another unpleasant alternative? Or are they feelings that would add to an already pleasant experience of being on fire about life, just as you are? Now, the former will attract more feelings of lack and unpleasantness. The latter is more likely to attract what you really want. And so to attract a partner into your life, or even to inspire a partner to join you on a deeper level of intimacy, is to learn how to practice feeling the way you want to feel as if you already have the thing. Now, this is not pretending. This is not faking it until you make it. It is realizing that feelings are just energy moving through your body. And you have supreme command over the greatest instrument that generates, regulates, and also can drain your energy, and that is your body. So once you learn how to harness your energy, you can tune your instrument to harmonize to any feeling you want. It is a nuanced, energetic experience. Of course, cooperative people and environments can make this a lot easier. It is difficult to tune an instrument in a noisy room or with other musicians blowing horns in your ear. In those instances, using your intuitive guidance can help you discern how to arrange and situate yourself in proximity to people, places, and things that create an optimal environment in which you can more easily, properly tune your instrument from the inside out. This is a really big topic to unpack, and we are going to talk a lot more about this in the coming months. So make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. If you are interested in learning more about how to harness your energy, I invite you to check out a link in the caption of this video. So let's review what we have learned today. The first step in magnetizing attractive partners is reframing the negative stories you may have going on inside your head. For example, Michael spent a lot of time waiting for Janie to set the tone of the relationship, begging after permission to just be himself, waiting for some undetermined moment when she might finally give him what he needs or some unforeseen circumstance that might force a change. So we must recognize that he is handing disproportionate responsibility for his feeling states over to someone and something outside of himself. Reframing the story means that he looks at it from an entirely different angle and a moon's eye view of his life. It means realizing that he does not need Janie to change in order for him to feel a certain way. However, he might require changes in the relationship in order to remain committed to it as a structural component of his life. And it also means that he has new information about how Janie contributes to creating a positive or negative environment in which it could be easier or more difficult to attune to his own spiritual and vibrational instrument, the real source of his energetic experiences, i.e. the feelings he wants to feel. Now, the second step is realizing your relationship with a partner is a mirror for your inner relationship between you and you. You start doing this by recognizing the energetic point of attraction that is in operation between you and someone else. And so Janie's resistance to change is similar to Michael's resistance to the status quo, energetically speaking. Janie resists Michael because she wants things to stay the same, and Michael resists his own evolution because he thinks he needs Janie's permission to evolve. Once you recognize the common thread that is expressing itself in seemingly opposing ways, you can better determine what is and is not within your control, and thus make better decisions about what stories you will tell yourself when you want to experience a new feeling or a nuanced energy moving through you. Now, the third step is realizing that the energy that attracts love into your life is qualitatively different from the energy that attracts success into your life in other areas. The energy of success when applied to a romantic situation tends to turn relationships into an endless performance review. Additionally, when we slip into this habit, we have a tendency to give disproportionate authority to our partners, assuming that they have the ability to grant us permission to feel our feelings and access certain energetic states. There are degrees of emotional influence that exist between human beings, and it can be a very fun place to play around in. But ultimately, we choose how we will respond to someone, and we choose how much we allow their influence to affect us. Thank you for sticking with me until the end of this video. I hope that you have enjoyed today's content. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Also, leave me a comment. I consider all feedback for future video topics. And again, if you'd like to learn more about how to harness your energy, you can check out a link in the caption of this video. Thank you, and have a great week.